She said I'd never graduate college. Now I'm the dean of admissions. Mrs. Holloway taught senior English with the enthusiasm of someone serving a life sentence. She had this way of looking over her glasses that made you feel like you'd personally disappointed the entire education system. When I told her I was applying to college, she actually laughed. State schools have standards now, she said, handing back my essay covered in so much red ink it looked like it was bleeding. Maybe consider community college or trade school. College isn't for everyone, especially students who can't grasp basic essay structure. I was 17, first generation, working nights at a warehouse to save money. My essays were rough because I was exhausted, not stupid, but she'd made up her mind. Even wrote it in my yearbook. Best of luck in your future endeavors, whatever they may be. The subtext was clear. Community college was what I could afford anyway. 2 years of basics while living at home, still working nights. My grades were perfect. Turns out when you're not being told you're inadequate daily, you actually perform better. Transferred to State University as a junior, graduated summa cum laude. But I wasn't done. Got into grad school for higher education administration. My thesis was on bias in academic gatekeeping. Wonder where that inspiration came from. First job was in admissions at a small liberal arts college. I reviewed applications from kids like me, exhausted kids, working kids, kids whose essays weren't polished because nobody taught them how. I advocated for every single one. Moved up fast. Assistant director at 28, director at 32. When the dean position opened at my old state university, I knew it was time. The interview committee asked why I wanted to return. I told them the truth, because every kid deserves someone who sees their potential, not just their present circumstances. Got the job. First day, I implemented a new policy. Holistic review of applications. GPA matters, but so does context. A B+ while working full-time means more than an A from someone with tutors and test prep. Year 3, I was invited to speak at my old high school's career day. I said yes immediately. Walked those familiar hallways that still smelled like industrial cleaner and teenage anxiety. The principal introduced me as their most successful recent graduate. Recent being relative. It had been 15 years. Mrs. Holloway was still there, still teaching senior English, still wearing the same disapproving expression. She sat in the back row while I spoke about college access, removing barriers, seeing potential where others see problems. Afterward, she approached. I remember you, she said. I remember you too. She shifted uncomfortably. You've done well for yourself, despite expectations. She started to walk away, then turned back. I suppose I was wrong about you. No, I said. You were wrong about a lot of students. I was just the one who could afford to prove it. Later that day, I met with the current seniors. One girl stayed after, holding a crumpled essay with red marks everywhere. Mrs. Holloway says I'm not college material. I read her essay. It was rough, but underneath the mechanical errors was a voice, a story. A kid working 2 jobs to help her mom pay rent. I saw myself. What do you want to study? I asked. Education. I want to be a teacher. A better one then. She stopped. Apply to my university, I said. Use this essay. But tell them about the 2 jobs. Tell them about your mom. Tell them why those grammatical errors don't define your potential. She got in. Full scholarship. Graduated last year. Guess what she teaches now? English. At a high school 2 towns over. She sends me pictures of her students' essays. Lots of corrections, but in green ink. Less traumatic, she says. Mrs. Holloway retired this year. At her farewell dinner, the principal mentioned how many of her former students went on to college. She smiled like she'd been their champion all along. I wasn't invited to speak at the dinner, but I sent a card. Thank you for teaching me that the best motivation comes from proving people wrong. My office wall has every rejection letter I ever received. 15 colleges that said no. 1 teacher who said never. And below them, my doctoral diploma and a photo from last year's commencement where I handed degrees to 3,000 students. The girl who sent the card probably didn't sign it, but I know that handwriting. Still looks like disappointment, even in retirement.